Last topic is HyperV virtualization. So in this module, you will learn key features of HyperV Windows Server. You learn how to configure HyperV networking, yung virtual networking, HyperV storage, yung virtual hard drive, and how to manage state of virtual machine, whether stop, start, or start upon boot up or pause. You also learn how to secure Hyper-V and blah, blah, blah. Ang dami, no? So dito na tayo, Hyper-V in Windows Server, and we're gonna configure Hyper-V. So first of all, uh, um, parang bumalik ako, no? Overview. Ano ba yung Hyper-V? Ano ba tong, what is Hyper-V? Hyper-V is a hypervisor. So Hyper-V is a version of Microsoft hypervisor. So napakadaming hypervisor. Merong VMware ESX hypervisor, merong Citrix Send Server hypervisor. Napakadami. No? Nutanix hypervisor. Ang dami. So dito, Microsoft version nila, Hyper-V. Hyper-V is a hardware virtualization server role. So role lang siya. Available sa Windows. It will provide a software layer known as hypervisor, which is used to control access to physical hardware. Hyper-V supports many type of guest operating system. Kaya niya Linux, kaya niya FreeBSD, kaya niya Kali Linux, kaya niya Windows, syempre. General Hyper-V features can be grouped as follows. So Hyper-V can do management and connectivity using VNet. Portability, you can connect to another Hyper-V, Hyper-V to Hyper-V. Excuse me. And you can perform disaster recovery, security, and optimization. So requirements sa Hyper-V, 64-bit. With slot, kailangan yung physical host, merong second level address translation. Since Core to Duo, lahat meron na slot. Okay? A processor with vMonitor mode extension. So punta kayong BIOS, enable nyo yan. And you have lots of RAM. No? Ideally, meron kayong 128 gig. Well, depende kung gaano kadaming memory kailangan nyo. And then, most servers naman meron ng Intel Virtualization Tech. That should be enabled. Pag AMD naman, AMD V. Okay? Then, hardware enforced DEP should be enabled. And XD, no execute, and X should be enabled. No? Punta lang sa BIOS, hanapin yan. How do you install Hyper-V? So, the command is install Windows feature Hyper-V. Yun lang. So once install, meron kang graphical user interface. Ito yung tsura niya. So this is your console. Okay? Dito yung Hyper-V server. Host. Sabihin natin host. Physical. Dapat physical. Pwede rin virtual. And ito yung mga virtual machines. Ito yung running state niya. Running, pause, shutdown, off. Current CPU usage. How much RAM did you assign, and uptime. And then dito yung action pane. Hyper-V can be managed using PowerShell or PowerShell Direct. So PowerShell Direct communication from host to VM, and you can manage using remote server admin tool or yung Windows Admin Center. Best practice, you have to have enough memory, hard drive, and network. Capable, very powerful. No? You need to deploy VM on separate disk. Napansin nyo kanina yung VHD? Di ba? Isa-isa kong ginawa. No? Ideally, solid state or SAN or NAS. No? NAS yung kanina. Kailangan external siya. So Hyper-V is not a hyperconverged. Kailangan ka pang bumili ng storage sharing network or NAS. No? Cluster shared volumes. Okay? Do not collocate other server row. So ibig sabihin, pag Hyper-V na to, huwag mong lalagyan ng Active Directory, DNS, DHCP, FSRM, DFS. Made-degrade in performance, okay? Huwag kang maghalo-halo ng roles. And you have to manage Hyper-V remotely. Hindi ka maglalagin sa Hyper-V. Okay? You can access this one using IP address lang naman sa browser. Overview of nested virtualization. Ito yun. It provides ability to install Hyper-V within the guest machine. So meron tayong guest machine, install natin Hyper-V doon. Okay? Requirements, both Hyper-V and guest must have 2016 minimum. And you should have enough RAM, and VM must have version 8. Okay? Kailangan yung VM version 8. Pag hindi, you won't be able to perform nested. Okay, the command to make it nested is you have to set VM processor, then the name of the VM, and expose virtualization. Kailangan enable mo to. Okay? Okay, gawin na natin, gawin na natin. So ano ibig niyo sabihin? Paano gagawin? Ano ba yan? So ito na. Um, remember this one? Sa meron kayong Hyper-V, okay? Install natin Hyper-V dito. Pero hindi pwede install. First, you need to expose yung CPU. Expose natin CPU before you can install. Okay, pakita ko ha. So, demonstration, uh, server 4. Ito tayo, server 4. Tingnan nyo, hindi natin ma-install Hyper-V dito. Kasi walang CPU exposure pa. Tingnan nyo, install ko. So, this is how you install. Add role. Next. Then select the server 4. Ayun yung Hyper-V. So, this will error out. Ayun na. Add features. So, dinedetect niya. Am I allowed to install Hyper-V? Uy, error. Sabi, the validation process found problem. Okay, Hyper-V cannot be installed. The processor does not have required virtualization capability. So, hindi kaya, no? So, ganito gagawin niyo. So, back to our slide, we have to expose the CPU. So, paano mag-expose? The command is set VM processor, the name of VM, then command expose virtualization to true. Okay? Expose nyo muna yan. So, ganito na. So, punta tayo dito sa 4. Run tayong ICE. PowerShell. Sorry, dito pala sa host. Dito sa host, may type yan. No? The command is set. Copy. Anyway, nasa YouTube naman to. Processor. VM name. The name of the VM is Nexus server 4. Tama ba? No, then the command is expose virtualization to true. So, yan lang yan. So, one command lang. Patay. Patayin natin. Ayun, patay na. So, ulitin natin. Windows. So, kanina, remember, hindi ko ma-install Hyper-V. So, dapat ngayon, I can install Hyper-V na. Okay, so, add role. Add ko na yung Hyper-V, So, Hyper-V. Ayan. So, Hyper-V. Kinilag ko yung Hyper-V. Oy, tinanggap. Okay? Pwede, di ba? Yun lang. Expose mo yung Hyper-V virtualization. Yun lang yun. Tapos follow the prompt. Install mo na. Okay? So, kung meron kayong Windows 10 sa laptop nyo and then you have 8 gig, pwede na kayo mag-hands-on lab sa laptop nyo. No? So, first thing, ano gagawin niyo? To create your own lab. Mag-install kayo ng Hyper-V sa laptop niya. Okay? Windows 10 lang. Pero kailangan Windows 10 Pro. Hindi pwedeng Home. Okay? Ako, ano bang Windows ako? So, paano mag-install sa laptop? Type nyo lang control. Okay, naka-Windows ako Windows 10. Control. Programs. Okay, hanapin nyo yung features. Okay, ito yung features. Then, look for Hyper-V. Wala akong makitang Hyper-V. Ano bang version ng Windows ko? Ay, home ako. So, hindi available sa akin. Okay? So, kung Pro kayo, lalabas dito Hyper-V. Kiklik nyo lang yon. Tapos, okay na, mag-install na yan. So, then reboot, magkakaroon na kayong Hyper-V. Okay? So, hindi nyo na kailangan yung lab natin. Pwede na kayong gumawa dyan. No? So, ito na. So, ito na yon. The moment mag-reboot, meron na kayong Hyper-V. And then, sir, paano ginagawa yung switch? Kasi gumawa ako ng switch, di ba? Ang ginamit ko, internal. Which means, yung mga VM, nakakonect in a single switch. Kaya that's why they're communicating. Ayan, no? Kaya nagpipingan eh. Pingable. No? Kaya nagpiping. Ko-connect mo lang sa single switch yan. Okay, gagawa ka ng switch. Ko-connect mo lahat ng VM sa switch. After nyan, paano gumawa ng
Sir
VM?
Chris.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, pwede po makita ulit paano install sa Windows 10 Pro?
Windows 10 Pro. Yeah, ito. So,
Pari-try ko, sir. Mamaya.
yeah, sa bahay nyo. No? Ito. Go to Windows. Then type nyo lang control. Okay, then punta kayo sa programs. Yan. Programs. Windows features on and off. And then lalabas dito yan, HyperV. Pag nakita yung HyperV, select nyo na. Then click OK. Yun lang. Dali lang.
Afterwards nun, sir, may
Boot na kayo.
makikita yung ano.
You will have
wala lang.
HyperV na.
I-check mo lang sa program mo, sir.
Oo. No, actually, ito, let's say ito, di ba? Ayan, tagal na yan kasi nested na yan eh. Paano malaman may HyperV? Lalabas dito sa desktop. Or, tatype mo virt mgmt.msc. Okay, lalabas na yan. Ayan, lumabas na. Yun lang. Lalabas na yan. Tapos, ito matagal to kasi nested na yan eh. Multiple layer. Nangyari dyan. Ganito nangyari niyan eh. Di ba meron akong HyperV? Tapos gumawa ako ng server 4 kanina. Remember? Module 1. Tapos nag-install ako ng, in-expose ko yung CPU. Di ba? Kasi hindi ma-install eh. In-expose ko yung CPU nito. And then, after exposure, nag-install ako ng HyperV. So, virtual machine within a virtual machine. Nested. Kaya mabagal na yan. Ganito mangyayari. Super bagal na yan. Super bagal na yan. Ha? Unless meron kayong solid state. Okay? So, let's say tapos na na-install na yung HyperV. Ganito na itsura niya. Ganito na itsura niya. Ha? Iwanan ko na yan. Ganito na itsura. Sir, paano gumawa ng switch? So, just go to Virtual Switch Manager. Okay, gawa tayo ng switch. Internal. So, what's the difference between the three? Ang internal, VM to VM lang. Sorry. Ang internal, host to VM. Meaning, meron akong Hyper-V host, di ba? Tapos meron akong internal, meron akong dalawang VM. Mapiping ko pa rin from my host to the VM. Nagets niya? Reachable, no? Ang private, VM to VM lang. Sila lang mag-communicate. So, hindi yan pingable. Okay? Ang external naman, ko-connect ka na sa internet. Makukuha mo yung private, yung public IP. Mahuhugot mo na. So that means magkaka-internet ka. Kasi ito wala tong internet. Wala tong internet eh. Kasi naka-internal nga lang siya. For study purposes lang siya. Hindi ko na nilagyan ng internet. Na? Tingnan niya, walang internet. Hindi ko maping yung external, di ba? Okay?
Hindi gumana.
Hindi mo maping kasi internal lang nga siya. Okay, naka-internal only.
Pero pagka external, sir, magpiping pa rin sila.
Oo, pag ginawa mo ng external yan, magpiping na yan. Ito, server 4, sisirahin ka na. Gagawa ko yung external So ito yung, saan na ba yung 4 ko? Yung 2, wag yung 2. Anyway, tapos na yung klase. Na-damage na to Madi-disconnect na tayo So, sino maganda? Si server 4. Ayan, server 4. Okay, Hyper-V na to Yan, so
Sir, pag naka-home version ka pala na Windows 10, meron bang ibang way para makapag-install ng Hyper-V?
Wala. Kailangan Pro.
Sir, question.
Sa torrents.
Ang mga end users, sir, na naka-home edition na OS, hindi pwedeng i-connect sa Active Directory.
Hindi mako-connect. Kailangan naka-pro sila. Yun ang feature ng home. Personal, sa bahay lang. Hindi pwede sa domain. You won't be able to add sa domain. Tingnan niyo. Switch copying FB data. Wala. No? Wala kasing external. Okay? So, gagawa tayo ng switch. So, gagawa
Pero yung
external.
Yung administration ba rito, pasok din sa parang certification ng Azure Administrator?
Hindi, yung Azure kasi totally different yan. Cloud-based na yan. Hindi siya operating system.
Cloud-based siya, pero
Services.